Most respected Thai, dear Sangha, good morning or good afternoon, wherever you happen to be. Today is the 1st of May in the year 2021. We are in the Upper Hamlet in the Stillwater Meditation Hall, preparing for our transmission of the 14 Mindfulness Trainings tomorrow. Dear Sangha, I am sitting, but my father is also sitting. I am sitting with my father's back. I am breathing, and my father is also breathing. I am breathing with my father's lungs. I am sitting, and my mother is also sitting. I am sitting with my mother's back. I am breathing. My mother is also breathing. I am breathing with my mother's lungs. I am sitting, and Thai is also sitting. I am sitting with Thai's back. I am breathing. Thai is also breathing. I am breathing with Thai's lungs. I am the breathing. Thai is the breathing. There is no one breathing. There is only breathing. dear Sangha, what a happy occasion to have a 14 mindfulness training transmission online. Of course, we wish you could be here in person, but we know that you will feel the energy of Plum Village Sangha tomorrow in your own country, in your own home. So we're very happy about that. There will be about 190 of you receiving the mindfulness trainings tomorrow. As far away as Australia, maybe, and Japan, South America, all continents. So if we organize it just in Plum Village, maybe we wouldn't have the opportunity to stretch our arms so far in the transmission. In a transmission, you receive what we call a precepts body, a mindfulness trainings body. And that body, it doesn't really have a beginning, and it doesn't have an end. And when your fleshly body has to disintegrate, the energy of your precepts body continues in the world, because it is the energy of beauty, of goodness, and of truth. So tomorrow we will be putting our whole heart into our openness, opening ourselves up in order to receive the transmission. We've already had several 5 mindfulness trainings transmissions online. The most recent one was in French in our Francophone retreat. And in my Dharma sharing family, many friends received the 5 mindfulness trainings. And they said that they could really feel the energy of Plum Village Sangha coming over their computer. And they were very happy with the transmission. They felt they'd really received something, a precepts body. They'd really received their precepts body. Only one friend said, I did receive the transmission, but I want to receive it again in Plum Village. So as soon as Plum Village is open, I will come and receive the 5 mindfulness trainings again. Normally we receive the 5 mindfulness trainings again when we have failed to recite them in the past 3 months. Because we feel that not reciting the mindfulness trainings means that we will lose the energy that we received in the transmission. So it's not just up to the transmission to give us the energy. It's up to us to continue that energy by reciting regularly. And I have to tell you that receiving the 14 mindfulness trainings again is not really an option. So please don't think that, I will do it better in Plum Village later, because no, this is it. This is the one and only time. And from then on, you have the responsibility to take care of your precepts body. The precepts, I'm talking about precepts, I mean mindfulness trainings. The mindfulness trainings, it's a much better word, are like the ocean. One lifetime is not enough to study and practice them. So this is something that we recognize when we receive the mindfulness trainings. They are so deep, they are so wonderful. How could we possibly practice everything that is there, is contained in them in one lifetime? So every time we have a recitation of the mindfulness trainings, the 14 mindfulness trainings, and I would suggest that that is probably once a month or once every 2 weeks if you can manage, but not more than that. And of course, not less than once every 3 months. And in that recitation ceremony, you will be asked the question, have you studied, practiced, and observed this mindfulness training in the past month? And then you have a chance to breathe and look deeply. Look at yourself like looking in a mirror. Look at your practice of the mindfulness training that's just been read. How have you practiced? How are you going to practice in the next month? And every month we should see, yes, I've practiced this much, but I want to practice this much more next month. And every time we add a little bit to our practice, we see something in the mindfulness training that we had not seen the month before. And I already received the mindfulness training in 1986. So now that's quite some time, but not a whole lifetime yet. And even so, every time we have a recitation, I can see something new, something more that I can practice. So that is what we mean by keeping our precepts body strong and alive. And as I said, it doesn't have to be something very great. It can be small things, because the small things, they add up every time. It's better to go like this, than to go like this and then down again. So that is the way we continue to practice the 14 mindfulness trainings. We keep the transmission alive in us. And when you receive the 14 mindfulness trainings, I don't think over line we can do this. You receive some kind of clothing. We call the brown jacket. You can make your own maybe at home. You buy some brown material that you like. Or if the sangha can give you one, you receive from the sangha. This color brown is the color of humility. So when you put on your brown jacket, you don't think, oh, I'm better than those who don't have one of these. You know, this is a reminder for me to practice humility. And I know there are some people who have not yet received the 14 mindfulness trainings, and they're practicing more diligently than I am. So this is my vow that I put this on in order to help me practice. And we have a little poem, putting on my jacket in the historical dimension. I adorn myself. I adorn the world. The Pure Land is in the palm of my hand, created by mountains and rivers. This world we are living in is also the Pure Land. It depends how we look at it. And when we put on our jacket, we want to walk as if we are walking in the pure land. It's made for us by the mountains, by the rivers, by the trees. And I adorn myself means I adorn myself with humility. I adorn myself with the practice of the 14 mindfulness trainings. They are my true adornment. And these things also make the world beautiful at the same time as they make me beautiful. Now I would like to talk to you about the 4 grounding characteristics of the Order of Interbeing. They are the spirit of the Order of Interbeing. The Order of Interbeing has a charter. During your time of being an aspirant, you may have been introduced by your mentor to the charter of the Order of Interbeing. So this charter is written a long time ago in Vietnamese, and it was written in English, not very well translated, if I may make that comment, in 1989 or something like that, I think. And so things have changed in the Order of Interbeing, and not everything in the charter is quite applicable as it was in the beginning, when the order was very small and you could have a treasurer for the order, but now we could hardly have a treasurer for the whole Order of Interbeing throughout the world. So some things have changed, but the spirit of the charter, the main principles of the charter, they haven't changed. So that is why we can look at them today. Phá chấp. I don't know whether you think that this is something easy to practice. But for me, it's not so easy to become non-attached to views. To me, it is a training. And I think in the first mindfulness training, it says, we will train ourselves in order to transform dogmatism in ourselves. well, you might say, I'm not dogmatic. So other people out there, in other religion, they may be dogmatic, but I'm not dogmatic. But actually, if I look deeply at myself, I see that there are certain very deep, embedded views in myself, which I need time to be able to train in order to transform. And one of those views is the view of birth and death, the view of being and non-being is very deep in me, to believe that people really are born, they really die, and all the grief and the suffering that goes with death is very deep in me. And I can see that it's taking me time to transform that. And I think that I'm on the road to transforming that attachment to very, very deep views that I have. The view of being and non-being. This really exists, this really doesn't exist. That is not the middle way the Buddha taught. And that is an attachment to a view. And then there are, of course, other views that I have, which are about how we should do this, how we should organize the sangha, that kind of view, what color we should paint the door. We have that kind of view, which is on a slightly different level than the view that is caught in birth and death. So this is where we need to practice the harmony of views in order to transform these views about what color I should paint the door, or we should paint the meditation hall or something. So two kinds of views. This deep and the way that we transform the deep innate views is by looking deeply in our daily life. And then we have our everyday views. And we transform these by practicing the harmony of views. I think if I were asked, are you conservative or are you progressive? I think I would say I'm a little bit on conservative side. What about you, Im? Are you conservative or progressive? Shem Bode, huh? Neither, huh? Okay, well anyway, we can all have idea about whether we're conservative or progressive, whether other people would agree with our idea of ourselves. I don't know. But in the conservative there is always a seed of progressive, and in the progressive there's always a seed of the conservative. So sometimes we think the perfect sangha is a place where we're all in harmony. We all agree with each other. And one time Thai asked one of our brothers, what degree of harmony do you want to have in the sangha? And that brother said something like 90%. And Thai said, no way, 60%. 60%. So let's not hope that we all agree with each other. That is a little bit too idealistic on the one hand, but also is not practical, in the sense that if we want the sangha to grow, we need to have different ideas. So say that I have say that I have an idea. What idea do I have? No, this is a little bit too monastic idea. I have to have an idea that. Anyway, say I have one idea, which is over here. This is my idea. And then you have another idea, it's the opposite, is over here. And before I come to the meeting, I think, oh, this idea is wonderful. If the sangha does this, it will be the answer to everything. And this other person had the idea, oh, this idea is wonderful. If the sangha does this, it will be the answer to everything. So the important thing is, we hear that right view is no view. Right view is no view. When we can let go of views altogether, and we can dwell in Nirvana, which is the silencing of all views. So then we think, oh, then I don't need to have any view. But you do. You do need to have view, and you do have view. Everybody has their point of view about things. Unless some part of our brain has been badly damaged, we have views. And those views, we think they are rational. They come from the rational part of our mind. But the neuroscientists have discovered that our views come from the emotional part of our mind. And if you keep the rational part of your mind, and you get rid of the emotional part of your mind, you won't have any views. The view you have come from your emotions. And so we have them, and they're good. It's good that you have a view. And it's very good that this person also has a view. So you come to the meeting ready to explain your view and put it somewhere in the meeting. Listen to the view of the other person. Put it somewhere in the meeting. And then you do something which is like, synthesizing the views. You take what is positive from here, what is helpful from here. You take what is helpful from here, and you put them together. And this is what they call in science a bifurcation point. It's a point of renewal, which is in all in life. For life to evolve and continue, there have to be points where things come together and they go in a different in a renewal direction. So this ability to synthesize views is what will keep the sangha growing and keep the sangha healthy. The only thing is we have to be patient in order to do this. And sometimes it takes time to synthesize our views. And don't think that, okay, this meeting, we're going to work it all out, and it may take several months to do it. So that is an important part of non-attachment to views, which is a basic characteristic for members of the Order of Interbeing to practice. So direct experience of meditation of interbeing in meditation. Here we're talking about no separate self. And of course we can have ideas about no separate self in our intellect. We can see interbeing intellectually. But here it talks about direct experience. And we have the word in meditation. So, does that mean in sitting meditation? No, it doesn't mean just sitting meditation. It can be working meditation, walking meditation. Here, meditation means mindfulness, concentration, and insight. So, we look deeply in our daily life in order to master the insight of interbeing. And in the meditation we practiced about half an hour ago, we were practicing to experience interbeing, to see that if my father's back wasn't there, my back wouldn't be there either. And I don't have a separate self. If Thai's back was not there, I would probably be sitting even more less straight than I am now. Yeah. And if Thai's breathing wasn't there, my mindful breathing wouldn't be there either. So that is that kind of meditation is to give us a direct insight into being. But it also needs to be practiced in difficult situations. We can practice, I am breathing with my father's lungs, I am sitting with my father's back in our meditation, and we can really feel that. But then when we go out and we talk to our father, we may talk he may be angry with us and we may be angry back at him. So this means that we haven't really deeply mastered the experience of interbeing. So one time I was very lucky that because of this meditation, my father was very angry with me and shouting at me. And I looked at my father and I said to myself, I am standing with my father's back. I am breathing with my father's lungs. To see that my angry father and me, we are one. Yeah. And immediately my father is not angry anymore. So we need to meditate, and then we need to bring into our daily life the insight of interbeing. And in the 10th mindfulness training of the Order of Interbeing, we see ourselves as a cell in the sangha body. So a cell is, we have trillions of cells in our body, and we see ourselves as a cell. And a cell is a bit like this, and it has a nucleus. It has mitochondria, and different things inside the cell. And around the cell it has a membrane. And around us we have skin. So it help you to see that I'm me and you are you, the fact that I'm enclosed in skin. Well, the cell also has a membrane. And that membrane is permeable. That is that the nutriment can come into the cell, the waste can leave the cell through the membrane. But the cell also has something else. The cell has its antibodies. It has its defense mechanism that can stop coming into the cell things that are harmful to the cell. And we also, as cells in the sangha body, we also can choose what come into us, what leaves us. The Buddha in the Sutra on the Sun's Flesh talks about a cow. And the cow has lost her skin. And all the insects, they come and suck the blood of the cow. So the Buddha said, don't be like a cow without skin. So this is to say that we take good care of what we let come into our cell and what we let go out of our cell. And that is the wonderful thing about interbeing. If you say that, oh, everything inter is, and I have a lot of angry people around me, so I have to receive all their anger. Well, you may have to receive it, so don't stay in that environment too long. But you also have your membrane. And your membrane, we can call the membrane of mindfulness, membrane of awareness of what is coming toward you and what you are giving out. One time, Thai was teaching, when you come to the sitting meditation, you can open yourself up and you can allow all the good energy of the sangha to enter you. And somebody asked Thai and said, what if in the sangha there is some not good energy? I open myself up, I will receive the not good energy. And Thai said, it's up to you to choose what energy you receive, because you have a skin. You can choose the good energy. By producing good energy in yourself, it will attract the good energy in the sangha. Producing unwholesome energy in yourself, it will attract the unwholesome energy of the sangha. So that is how we practice to be a cell in the sangha body, practicing the three powers, the power of love, the power of understanding, the power of cutting off afflictions, in order to be able to attract the good energy of the sangha. And we also learned that we can experience interbeing at every moment of our life. Interbeing is a reality. Scientists talk a lot now about interbeing, although they don't use the word interbeing. It's not possible to have this without that. It's a reality we can observe in our daily life. And we have time to walk in nature. We can realize the wonderful things and how they interact, how the trees interact with the breath, and many things we can observe in our daily life. So the third characteristic is the characteristic of appropriateness. And there are two kinds of appropriateness. Khỏi vậy ta. Cái cơ ha. Right. So this is the first kind. And the second, appropriate to the circumstances, appropriate to the teachings of truth. This is not a very good translation, but I don't know how to do any better. So in the sutras, there's a little verse that it says, Buddhas do not wash away unwholesome klesha, unwholesome things with water, nor do they remove suffering with their hands. Beings are saved by the teachings of truth, the way things are. So we have the word Dharma, and Dharma sometimes means the teachings, but it also means the way things are, the nature of things, the truth of things. So these two kinds of appropriateness, they balance each other. If you just have one, it's not enough. If you just talk about the way things are, the teachings of truth, maybe the people you're talking to, they won't be able to absorb anything of what you say. And if the people you are talking to can absorb everything you say, but what you say does not reflect the teachings of truth, then it's also not useful to anyone. So we need both these things. When we first brought Plum Village to the United States, in Maple Forest Monastery, Green Mountain Dharma Center, when Thai brought the sangha to live in the United States, Thai talked a lot at that time about MPC. MPC. Mindfulness Practice Center. And in the nearby town to Maple Forest Monastery, the lay people founded a mindfulness practice center. And Thai wanted that every town and every city should have a mindfulness practice center. And this is a place where anybody can drop in at any time of the day. Anybody who's working in the town can drop in at any time of the day. And some lay people live there. And in a mindfulness practice center, no Buddha statue, no incense, nothing that has anything to do with religion or ritual. So everybody feel safe there and happy, because some people, they don't like Buddha statues. So, and then, for instance, not too early, but early enough in the morning, the people living in the MPC, they arrange a sitting meditation so that those who are on their way to work can join in the sitting before they go to work. And then at lunchtime they arrange for a silent meal, and those people who are working and they have a lunch break, they can come and eat their sandwich in silence. And in the evening, at the time when people go home from work, they do a total relaxation, so that people on their way home from work, they can arrive home more fresh, having done total relaxation. Yeah, so this is what you could say, appropriate to the circumstances, appropriate to life in the city, and we don't have to use the word Buddha or Buddhism. One time, I think a Christian priest asked Thai, if you had to choose between peace in Vietnam or the Buddhist religion being practiced in Vietnam, which would you choose? And Thai said, that's not a difficult question to answer. And I'm sure you all know what Thai answered. Yeah, because, and then Thai said, well, if you have Buddhism but you don't have peace, that's not really Buddhism. And Thai has also said that Thai is Buddhist, but Thai is not caught in Buddhism. And this is what we mean a little bit by appropriate to the circumstances. If we are too caught in Buddhism, maybe we will not be able to transmit the essence and the spirit of Buddhism to the people who need it most. There's a wonderful project at the moment in Baltimore which really inspires me very much. Some of our sangha members who are BIPOC, black and people of color, they have come together to help an area of Baltimore where there is a lot of poverty and a lot of many non-Caucasian people live there, and they really want to help those people, but they know that if we just have the normal kind of sangha that we have, it will not be attractive, because it will not reflect the culture and the background of the people who live there. So they come together and they manage to buy an old church, which is not difficult nowadays because many people, they don't go to church anymore, so there are plenty of old churches around. And you can, if you, over time you have faith that with your practice the financial resources will come and you will be able to convert that church into a place where people can have what is called a community center. So people have a place of refuge where they feel safe, they can come together, they can share together, maybe they can have cultural activities together to nourish something, to nourish the spiritual life. And that doesn't need any Buddhism. It doesn't need any ritual at all. Yeah. So this kind of project is what we call appropriateness to the circumstances. And it may sound very un-Buddhist. You may say there's nothing Buddhist in that at all. But in fact, the spirit of Buddhism is there. The spirit of interbeing is there. And if you read the last chapter of the book, Teachings on Love, you will see, Teachings on Love, wrong book, sorry. Love Letter to the Earth. If you read the last chapter of that book, you will see that Thai encourages us to contribute as Buddhists, to contribute to a global spirituality and a global ethic. And Thay's vision is not that everybody becomes Buddhist. Thay's vision is that we have a global spirituality based on our love for Mother Earth. Because in all spiritual traditions we can find that love for Mother Earth. And so we can let go of our Buddhism, our word Buddhism, not our spirit Buddhism, in order to be able to come to that global spirituality, which we so much need to heal the children of Mother Earth. So now we can look at the second element of appropriateness. And I think we can find the teachings of truth here. These are basic things in Buddhism: non-attachment to views and direct experience of interbeing. And as well as that, we have the Drishta Dharma Sukha Viharana, dwelling happily in the present moment. Yeah, maybe we can look at that a little bit later. So these are the basic teachings of the Buddha. And if we look in the earliest sutras, the Sutta Nipata, we will see how much the Buddha talks about non-attachment to views and non-attachment to doctrine. It's very evident in those early sutras. And of course we also have the three Dharma seals. The Dharma seals of impermanence, no self, and nirvana. And they are the teachings of truth. Things are impermanent, they're changing at every moment. That is a truth we need to be in touch with throughout our daily life. And no separate self is a training we have to keep doing. To help us suffer less, to help us drop the complexes of inferiority, superiority, and, oh, I'm just as good as you are. That is a non-self. That is what non-self helps us to do, to drop all our complexes, to be free of all our complexes. And then there is the Dharma seal of Nirvana. And that is very important, and it's a little bit equivalent to this, non-attachment to views, because we can get attached to impermanence, we can get attached to non-self. And in Nirvana we go beyond views of even of impermanence and non-self. So the Buddha is like that when the Buddha teaches. He doesn't say, look, I'm teaching you this, you have to get caught in this. The Buddha says that the teachings the Buddha gives are like a raft to take you to the shore. When you get to the other shore, don't put the raft on your head and carry it around with you. So the other shore is Nirvana. And don't carry that around on your head either. So when you do a practice, when you give a teaching, or you listen to a teaching, is it in accord with non-attachment of you? Is it in accord with direct experience of interbeing? Is it in accord with impermanence, no self, and nirvana? If it is, then you know that this is a teaching of truth, a practice of teaching of truth. And now we have to come to the fourth. The fourth is skillful means, upaya. What will the kind of language that we use when we talk to children, when we give Dharma talk for children? The adults really like it, huh? But it's not intended for the adults, it's intended for the children. But we all have a little child inside of us. We can talk about things that are very deep. We can talk about no birth and no death. But we don't use the same language as we do when we talk to the adults. So in transmitting the teachings, we need to use skillful means, to use the language which people can absorb and understand. And in our daily life, when we want to communicate with people, we also have to use the language that person can absorb. It's like when you want to correct or you want to remind your younger, or your elder maybe, sisters and brothers. You have to be careful what kind of language you use, because some remind the same thing to two different people. You may have to use different language for them to be able to accept it and be happy to put it into practice. So that is a skillful means. As you can see, it's very closely connected to appropriateness of the circumstances. They really go together. You can see how these things are closely connected to each other. And the mindfulness trainings themselves are a skillful means. And that is why we have to update them often. So it's now been 2012 was the last revision of the 14 mindfulness trainings. I think they're still pretty relevant, huh? The 14 mindfulness trainings. But we need to keep an eye, and sometimes little mistakes, or one little mistake maybe I can point out. I don't know if it's in all our thing, but in the fourth mindfulness training, we talk about I really revised this 4th mindfulness training quite a bit in 2012. For people to be able to practice to come back and see the suffering in themselves. That is a basic condition for being able to help others, is to see how you suffer. And then you only realize, oh, other people, they also suffer like that. And so in the way that I help myself, I can help other people. So it's very important in those first 2 sentences of the 4th mindfulness training that we talk about the suffering in ourselves, to come back and take care, to listen to the suffering in ourselves. And somehow the word in ourselves has got left out. I don't know, is it there? Is it left out? Huh? In this book it's left out. It is, okay. Here. To recognize, accept, embrace, and listen to suffering, and the words in ourself should be there. Tiếng Việt rất là rõ, nói very clear in Vietnamese. Nỗi khổ, niềm đau trong con, in ourselves. So we put that back. So the little things like that we need to do for the time being. Yeah, so now we look a little bit at the 14 mindfulness trainings as a skillful means. And now with the virus, with COVID, we, as a sangha, we practice a kind of monastic retreat. Well, we have long-terms also with us. We don't go out and lead retreats. So we have quite a bit of time to take care of our practice. And one way which I really enjoy practicing the 14 mindfulness trainings is by combining them with the gathas. The practice of gathas brings me a lot of happiness. I think that I used to think that gathas are only for novices. Then sometime I will become a Dharma teacher. I won't practice the gathas anymore. But yeah, that hasn't happened. So each gatha I can link with one of the 14 mindfulness trainings, those little poems that help us. There's a sutra in the Majjhima Sutta in the Majjhima Nikaya. It's called Vitakka Santana. Vitakka Santana. It means calming down your thinking. And in the end, the Buddha says that someone who realizes this practice of calming the thinking can think what he or she wants to think and cannot think what he or she doesn't want to think. So it sounds wonderful, huh? You just think the things you want to think and you don't think the things you don't want to think. So I haven't got to that stage yet. So in this sutra there are 4 ways of, there are 5, but one got put in by mistake. There are 4 ways of taking care of your thinking. One is changing the peg. That you're thinking this, oh, I don't like thinking this, I'll think something different. The second one is mindfulness. Instead of thinking, you become mindful. You feel what you're doing. The next one is slowing down. You slow down your thinking, so you stop one thinking before you start the next thinking. And the last one is stopping. Just stopping altogether your thinking. So anyway, in this, after having said how you can calm your thinking, the Buddha says, someone who realizes this can think what he wants to think. So I think, oh, that would be wonderful. And I realize I can't do it. Because I find myself thinking things I don't want to think. But as soon as with mindfulness I recognize, oh, I'm thinking something I don't want to think, I ask myself the question, do you want to think that? And the answer is no. And then the question is, what do you want to think? And so I say, oh, I want to be mindful of my breath, or I want to think something in the gatha. I want to think something that's in the gatha. So that is how the gathas can be very helpful. But they can also help us to practice the 14 mindfulness trainings. We have a gatha for waking up in the morning. Waking up, I smile. I have 24 brand new hours. Well, that is a wonderful gatha, but sometimes I don't feel like practicing it. Sometimes when you get old, you wake up in the morning and your body feels very well, it can do. I hope it doesn't when you get old, but in my case, I wake up in the morning feeling extremely uncomfortable. And so I try very hard. Waking up, I smile. But sometimes it doesn't work. But then I remember there's a wonderful poem of Thai. Waking this morning, waking this morning, I see the blue sky joining my palms. I give thanks to this light, for it is giving me 24 hours. Cho con 24 giờ tiếng nói, cho con bầu trời bao la, giving me the whole vault of the sky. That is a wonderful practice for me, because obviously when we wake up in the morning it's still dark. And there's no blue sky to look at. But in my consciousness there is a blue sky. And I can call up that blue sky however uncomfortable I feel. Yeah. And I like so much to join my palms. It's so helpful. It brings my left hand side, the right hand side of my body together. Bring my soul and my body together. It helps me a lot first thing in the morning to do that. Which reminds me that when you recite the 14 mindfulness trainings and you ask the question, have you studied, practiced, and observed it during the past week? In our, not yes or no, but somewhere in between. Sound of the bell. Join your palms, because that is to express your gratitude to your teacher who has given you this training. The trainings are your teacher who guides you, and is also to express your deep vow to practice the trainings. And you can, you need your body in that. To express gratitude is not just your mind, it's also your body. To make a deep vow to practice the training is not just your mind, it's also your body. So you join your palms. Yeah. So this to me is waking up, I see the blue sky. To me, that is the practice of the 7th mindfulness training. Touching the wonders of life that heal and refresh in all situations. Real happiness depends on our mental attitude and not on external conditions. I think we won't get much farther today, but I just like to, in relationship to the 7th mindfulness training, and appropriateness to the teachings of truth. I think sometimes Thai had dug deep into Buddhism and has found the real gems in Buddhism. And one of them is this one, non-attachment to views. And another one is this one. Drishta Dharma Sukha Vihara, Drishta Dharma Nirvana. So, Drishta really means to see. It's translated as hearing, but and Dharma here means the phenomenal world. And Sukha means happy, and Vihara means to dwell there, to be established there. So, seeing the phenomenal world, dwelling happily, seeing the phenomenal world Nirvana, the kind of Nirvana that isn't there when you, is not there when you die. Sometimes the idea is that as long as you are matter, you can't really have nirvana. As long as you have this body, you can't have nirvana. So you have to die in order really to experience nirvana. When you're just soul or spirit, then sometimes people had that idea. So then the Buddha had to teach. Seeing the phenomenal world. Nirvana. That kind of nirvana where you're hiện pháp. So this is the essence of the 7th mindfulness training. You need all your senses. You need your eyes, your ears, your nose, your body, in order to be able to be in touch with the things that your eyes, your ears, your nose, they bring. I don't know what they are out there. We interpret them as trees and flowers. This kind of contact, it can be the basis of our realization, our deep happiness. Nirvana is here and now in the phenomenal world. Happiness is here and now in the phenomenal world. It's not something that we're going to get in the future. So we will see you all tomorrow, and you are about to receive an orientation from the abbot of the upper hamlet for the ceremony tomorrow. So please don't turn your computer off when we've listened to the sound of the bell.
And dear Thai, dear Sangha, please undo your leg, massage them, and then we will hear a sound of the bell, and we will stand up and offer our gratitude to Sister Chân Đức for offering the teachings this morning. And then I invite us to sit back down for a very short orientation for tomorrow's ceremony. Thank you. And dear brothers and sisters and lay friends who are in Plum Village that will be receiving the 14 mindfulness trainings tomorrow, after this, can we just collect ourselves and meet each other at in front of the altar for a very quick instruction? So dear respected Thai, dear friends online, I would like to offer a very short orientation in how we can prepare ourselves to receive and be part of the transmission tomorrow. So we hope that you can have conditions to establish a sacred place tomorrow in your home so that you can collect yourself and be present to receive the transmission tomorrow. And if you have conditions, you can set up a mini altar. And I have here an example. This is quite extreme. You can definitely simplify it. But an altar is a place where it can help just direct our mindfulness and our concentration. And this may be helpful for the ceremony as you have received the text for the ceremony. We shall be having the incense offering as well as the practice of touching the earth. And you have also received some of the photos along with the attachment. So if you have conditions, you can set up a small table, can have a picture of the Buddha, or just a centerpiece, a flower, a plant. You can even establish an incense bowl, have 2 candles or 1 candle lighted up before the ceremony, and just have it in front of you and maybe your laptop somewhere so that you can direct yourself towards the screen or the altar for the ceremony. So in the ceremony, when we collect, when the sangha gathers, we will first all sit in silent. So please use that time to just become aware of your mindful breathing, establish yourself in your home, but collect yourself with the international community that will be present. And then the sangha will all stand up and we will face toward the altar and we will do a practice of incense offering as well as the practice of touching the earth. So for this, you can just join your palms and listen as the chant is being chanted by the community, or you can also join along if you know the chant. And I have also forwarded you the lyrics to the incense offering and the touching the earth. And after that, we will sit back down and do the opening verse as well as chant the Heart Sutra. And after that, we will then go forward with the ceremony. So for you to know that there will be a group of monastic brothers and sisters as well as lay friends who are present in Plum Village. They will also be receiving the mindfulness trainings. So you don't really have to worry about what to do because you can just follow along with what the brothers and sisters and lay friends will be doing in Plum Village. But just to give you a brief understanding of how it will go, we will have a formal request, and one of the brothers will be representing the whole group in asking the sangha, asking Thai and the sangha as the teachers to transmit the trainings. And then we shall practice some touching of the earth. After that, the sangha will do a sangha karma procedure to formalize the ceremony. Then we shall move on with the practice of touching the earth to the 4 gratitude, our parents, our teachers, our friends, and all beings. Then we shall sit back down to receive the mindfulness trainings one by one. And this part is important because when we sit back down to receive the mindfulness trainings, we want to sit in a way that will be comfortable for us to also touch the earth after each mindfulness training. So for the sangha in Plum Village, we will probably be kneeling, but for our friends at home, maybe we want to have some cushions or pillows to support us to sit for this. We will be reciting the trainings in both English and French. And after each trainings, we will be asked, are you ready to receive, put into practice, observe, something like that. And please, in the community here and as well as at home, please answer very clearly, because this is transmission for you. Yes, I do. And after that, you will hear a sound of the bell, and we will all touch the earth together, the ones receiving in Plum Village and the ones receiving at home. And then you shall hear a wake-up sound, and that's when we sit back up, or we kneel back up to receive the next training. So each mindfulness trainings will be read one by one, and after each mindfulness trainings, we will touch the earth one time. When all of the trainings have been read, we will then invite all of the new ordainees of the Order of Interbeing to all stand up, and we will touch the earth 3 more times to express our gratitude like Sư cô Chân Đức have shared. Then after that, we shall chant the closing verse, and then we shall then read one certificate as an example, and then the rest of the certificate we are preparing, and we will send it to you after the ceremony. So this is the overall of how the ceremony will be conducted tomorrow. So I just want to give you a brief understanding of how it will go, but please do not worry. Don't think you have to be perfect for the ceremony. Just be present, be fresh, and be ready to be open to receive the transmission. The sangha here will be present to offer you our support. Yeah, thank you very much, and good luck tomorrow. Thank you, Sangha. We already bowed. I think it's okay. We just give a hand for the meditation hall team to put the chairs and the cushions and mat back together. All of our brothers and sisters receiving the trainings.